All right, we are recording. Welcome everyone to the December 10th, 2021 Contributor Comms or Upstream Marketing Team meeting. A reminder, we are a project within the CNCF under Kubernetes, so we have the same code of conduct, which basically amounts to be excellent to each other, treat everyone with respect, and play nicely. So today, we should probably start off with any introductions. If there's anyone new to the group who wants to say hello and say why you're here, what you're looking for, please feel free to do so now. Okie dokie. And if anyone wants to do that a little bit later in the call, also feel free or do so in the chat. I think most of us have been here before, but maybe one or two new people. So I missed the last two meetings of this group, so there are some things that might be continuing items that you will have to update us on. So please add anything that you want to discuss to the notes and make sure that you've added yourself as an attendee as well. And we'll start off with our updates and big wins. The first thing I put in there is that it's almost the end of the year, yay. And one important note on that, there's actually a good reason for mentioning that, which is cancellations of these meetings before the end of the year. Like Ray said, there's one on December 24th. Of course, Christmas being a very major holiday here in the US and in a lot of places around the world. We'll probably cancel that meeting, December 24th meeting, unless people have any reason that they really feel like we need that meeting. If you're working on anything that you think will be in action at that time, please let us know. We'll make sure that you're supported for that, but we'll probably cancel assuming there's nothing like that. So adding that to the notes. And then also the meeting next week, I know that I won't be here. I'll have to chat with the other folks on the, what do we call ourselves now? The, I don't know what we decided, some kind of committee. We recently swapped our roles for this group into like a leadership committee. I don't remember what we called it.
I guess we should cancel for the next week because contributor celebrations are.
That's true. It's
like
also a contributor celebration, which is another point here. Yeah. So probably cancel that one too. And that's December 17th, I believe, right? 17th as well. So this will probably be our last meeting of the year. Cool. Any other almost the end of the year items that people want to mention? I have a thing for contributor celebration in a minute, so we'll get to that. Cool. So the next thing I have on here before contributor celebration, which I probably should have flipped these, but whatever, I'm going to go in order anyway, is 1.23 release. Yay! Congratulations, Ray!
Yeah, so happy it's out.
Yay! So the 1.24 release cycle will be starting in January, right?
Yeah, early Jan. Official start dates is still up in the air. It was January 3. It might be January 10th. That's still up in the air.
Okay. We'll start in early January. And we, as the upstream marketing team, try to stay engaged with what's happening with the release team. So if folks want to apply to be shadows on the comms team for the next release cycle, of course, you are welcome to. You might want to mention that you're part of the upstream marketing team if there's a spot for notes in there, which I think there's some sort of spot for that. And that you'd like to help coordinate communications between the release and this team. I was a release cycle comms shadow for this cycle. which was really awesome, and I learned a lot. I might try to do that next time as well, depending on if that works out for everyone. But that doesn't mean that someone else from the team can't also be on and start learning those skills. I think another cycle would help me to solidify my understanding of all the pieces that go into a release. So I think that would be good.
I also want to make a note
And
that
having a couple
124
points of contact will also help us make sure that we're communicating effectively between these two teams. Any other points that you want to add, Ray, about the 1.23 release?
Yeah, just for 124. So 124 is going to be big with communications because Dr. Shim has been removed. So
that's going to be a tough one.
Yes, I've actually highlighted it in all of my interviews this week for the 123 release. They tend to ask what's next for 124. So I spend time on explaining the Dr. Shim removal for next year.
Yeah, it'll also be a particularly, I don't know if delicate is the right word, sensitive maybe, release for comms, because Dr. Shim, as we have seen already, can cause a lot of panic as people feel like we are deprecating all support for Docker, which is not exactly accurate. But when they first see it, it makes people panic. So we have to be very, very careful with our communications, with explaining why we're deprecating Docker Shim, why it's being removed, and what we really need a lot of communications about what people need to do to make sure that their applications will continue working with Kubernetes when Docker Shim is removed, because Docker uses the container runtime containerd, which is supported by Kubernetes. So it's a little bit nuanced in terms of what this means for users. So we need to try to avoid panic, and we need to really put it on blast, though, so that people understand that this is happening. And delicate. No. What should I decide was the right word here? Insensitive. Yes. Cool. And also for 1.23, the blog is out, which we already tweeted about, release blog. And we haven't really tweeted about the feature blogs, though, which we could probably still do. It's probably a good idea. And there's also still a webinar that's coming up for you, right, Ray, in January?
Yes,
for 1.23?
on January 4th.
January 4th. So we should probably promote that as well. CMTF webinar on Kubernetes 1.23. Any other last things on 1.23 that you think we should be promoting more that we haven't?
I think that's good.
Or whether we have or not?
Yeah, just like you said about the feature blogs. And there's some good blogs out there with dual stack and pod security you mentioned.
Yeah, which is also a very important change, the pod security policies to the current feature, which is, I think, in beta with this release, or is it?
Yeah, it's in beta for this release, and pod security policies will be removed in 1.25. So that's something for next year also.
Okay, I'm going to note that here. I wrote that PSPs is a big one, and they will be removed in 1.25, and the replacement for them is in beta with 1.23. Cool. I think that's all the notes I have for the release. That sounds good. Do you want to add anything about applying to the next release team? Right? There should be a form that'll come up, and we'll try to remind you.
We're working on the application form right now, the shadow application form, and definitely should be a tweet out or some kind of comms.
Good point.
Out.
do, 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 do.
And one of the things I want to focus on 124 is to increase gender diversity as well for applicants. So I'm gonna probably reach out to certain organizations with that application, but doesn't necessarily have to be straight from official Kubernetes comms. But my partner has been involved in that for as her career. So
Cool. And for some context for folks who may be newer, I know there are a lot of folks on here who are newer to the community. The release team within Kubernetes is probably the team that has the most formalized shadowing process. There's actually an application that you have to fill out to become a shadow. And then as a shadow, there is a lead of your function like comms or docs or bug triage or whichever group you apply to be in. And as a shadow, you will watch what's going on with the lead, what pieces go into the release, and assist along the way. So you'll basically be learning the role of the lead for that function. So the comms one, like I said, is very important to us as contributor comms because we need to work really closely with that group within the release team to make sure that we're helping to get all of the messages that need to be out. So we like to have someone at least on there. And like we said, this 1.24 is going to be a big one for comms. So it would be nice to have someone else as well. Two heads are better than one. So we'll keep an eye out for that application form. Like you said, we'll need to also communicate that to everyone. And if you'd like to apply to it, feel free to ask questions and do that when that comes out. So I'm going to move on now. If there are any other questions, do feel free to put them in the chat. The next thing is that the contributor celebration starts next week. We've already discussed that we'll probably move our meeting next week because of that. Well, cancel our meeting next week because we're canceling the one after that anyway. And the contributor celebration, we've been doing a few tweets about that. Chris has mostly been monitoring those tweets and like the messaging that we've been sending out about that, but he's going to be busy for some amount of time next week or something. So I'm going to take over shepherding those efforts. So if there's anything that I'm likely to miss, because I miss things all the time, please feel free to let me know or make sure that I'm aware of anything that's going on in that area. Put that in as a note. Kaizen to shepherd and comms on this for the next week. And all of you, please feel free to take advantage of the contributor celebration. It is an opportunity for contributors to Kubernetes to socialize and have some fun. Great opportunity to network and meet some other people within the project and just participate in some fun activities. Ray, were you going to say something?
Oh, I was gonna say that I will.
Oh, I can't hear you. Maybe that's me.
Hello?
We can hear you, Ray.
There you are. Okay.
All right. Yeah, I was just gonna say that I will reach out to you next week on the comms about awards as well.
Oh, right. Important. I was going to ask about that before. I think Chris took care of that.
And also we have this Slack thing going out, like Slack notification. We've decided that, but I guess we have to wait till the next meeting because I brought it in the bi-weekly meeting and Bob said to wait till the next meeting. We have the schedule, like we don't have the proper schedule yet now. So after we get the whole schedule thing done, because there are some things like, bake-off and all those things where the time has been not allocated properly. So yeah.
Oh, interesting. So it'll be going out for the schedule. When does anyone know off the top of their head? When does the contributor celebration start exactly? Don't really know.
Thursday is the first
Thursday
events, okay. But we have the official opening ceremonies like Friday, I believe. So let me check the schedule. I know it was recently updated.
It was 16th to 19th, I guess. Like overall, I remember 16th to 19th.
Yeah, first
It's
event's
supposed-
the 16th, but the opening ceremonies is on the 17th.
I'm going to be out this starting on the 17th, so I'm going to miss a lot of it this year, which I'm very sad about. But there's another group called Crafter Netties that I'm now part of. And we're trying to put together some activity for it. So that's why I kind of giggled at the schedule not being ready thing, because I haven't put in when I'll do that if I'm going to do that. So it's my fault.
I guess only I have put the schedule for Craftivities. I saw every slot empty.
Yep. I think there are a couple in there now, as of a couple of days ago. But if I'm going to do something, I have not put it in yet. So my bad. Yeah. Cool. Any other contributor celebration notes? I think there's still some tweets waiting to go out on that, right? Or if not, then maybe some need to be written. Because we'll probably want to do some around the start of it. And then once we have the schedule finalized, we'll probably want to do tweets for the schedule and then for the closing. And of course, one for the awards, which we won't be able to create until the awards are announced, because we don't want to have that information in a publicly visible space. So if we were to put it in the GitHub repo, it would be publicly visible. So that's one of those things where we have to be careful about timing. So we'll have to have someone on that. I'll work with Chris and whoever else wants to be involved on making sure that we get that tweet out on time. Cool. Cool. Glad to see some questions about the release cycle in the chat. Making some notes about what I just said. I know that several of you have talked about being interested in shadowing the social media role, which we've now changed for this group, generally working with Twitter. Maybe send me a ping to remind me if you are interested in that, because maybe this is a good opportunity for you to get involved with some of the work around the tweets for the contributor celebration. Cool. So I'm going to move on to the next piece, which is the draft for the SIG multi-cluster spotlight. Yay!
Finally, that took a long time, but
It happens.
glad. Yeah. One of the lessons learned from that was if this was like a question answer and completely text, creating a text out of text is easier. Creating a text out of transcribed text and video and audio is the next challenge. So probably just a shared experience with others for spotlight interviews. Shared text-based Q&A works much better. But I shared the draft with Chris and Jeremy, like from SIG Multicluster. I just wanted to get their thumbs up before I create a PR. Probably they're a bit busy, so I'm gonna send them a reminder next week. The draft is ready, so probably once I get a quick glance from them, I'll create the PR.
Yeah, I know Chris definitely has some stuff going on, so definitely give him a few days at least. I'd also like to review it, so I will put that on my priority list. And
that'd be fantastic. Thank you.
yeah. Yes, committing to reviewing. And anyone else, if you want to take a look at this and kind of keep an eye on the process that this blog post goes through, this is a way to contribute that we, of course, encourage. Basically, our SIG spotlights, our SIG Spotlight blog series. We've done a few of these. You interview the chairs of the SIG about what their SIG is, what they're doing, what kind of skills they need in their SIG, and have a little recruiting message in there about how to join the SIG and get involved contributing. So we've done, like I said, a few of these, and we always welcome more. We have a list in GitHub of the SIGs that need blog posts, but the issue got like deprecated in a weird way, so I'm not sure what the status of that is right now. But if you want to do that, I'll try to help make sure that that's clear. Cool.
And I'll be dropping off a bit early today, so just wanted to wish everyone a very happy holiday season and an advanced Happy New Year.
Thanks so much for staying on long enough for that. I know you were going to go a little bit earlier. Sorry.
All good. That's okay. Take care, everyone. Thanks.
Thanks. Yay. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next thing. Katacoda. The new Katacoda is up. I saw some exciting news about that. You want to add more?
Yeah, it's up and running. The basic version is up and running. I'm working presently on the Windows part, which is technically not an environment in Katacoda, but it is the requirement of the new contributors. So that's the scenario. But yeah, at present, we have an official Katacoda tutorial for someone to start and set up Kubernetes on the local system. So yeah, that's done.
That is some amazing work. Thank you so much for that. So cool. I can't believe you're doing Windows with it too. I do some Windows Kubernetes work as well. I'm actually writing like a book chapter about Windows and Kubernetes right now. It's a weird thing, but so I have empathy for you there.
Yeah, like I feel basically students and those who are new to Kubernetes doesn't have the Linux-based development environment, so they usually tend to start with Windows and stuck in WSL. I guess like Windows part is more complex than this Linux part, because in Linux it's very easy and straightforward.
So you're focusing on like the exploring Kubernetes from a Windows machine type scenarios rather than like Kubernetes running Windows nodes?
Yeah, like it's basically running and building the Kubernetes source code in a Windows device, but for that we need to have a environment like Windows environment in Katacoda, which is not there. So I have to create a custom environment, which kind of is similar to
because there's licensing requirements with Windows, so that doesn't surprise me. Very interesting.
So, yeah.
The world of Windows and Kubernetes. By the way, the SIG blog post that I did was the Windows. Yeah. So good luck with that. If you need someone to complain at, feel free.
Yeah, sure. I'll be posting a lot of messages on the threads of this Katacoda scenario. Yeah, Joss is also like pretty much interested in this. So there are a lot of people helping out. Yeah, so it's going good.
And again, congratulations.
Thank you.
I want to put on like one of those little celebration emojis, but I'm not used to using Slack, so I'm not going to figure that out right now. And I'm also on the online, like the web client today, so it might be a little harder to find for me. I'm going to put that in the mix. Yay! Congratulations. Any other campaigns in progress that we want to update on, or updates and big wins, whichever section you'd like to put that in?
For campaigns in progress, I want to just remind that meet our contributors blog post that is going on. Basically, since we don't have any second article, so we haven't put here for the review. But yeah, we are planning before this year ends. We are going to put up an article, maybe by next week. Yeah, so that's going on pretty well.
Awesome. Still ongoing. Probably one next week. And then do you have planning going on for the next year or stuff already planned for next year?
Yes, we have plans. Actually, we don't have much discussion about it here now because we already have a separate meeting for it that happens on Tuesday. So yeah, that's why just wanted to update that. Yeah, it's a long term plan. Like we have about releasing blog post for each region, like contributors focusing on each region. At present, we are focusing on APAC, but sooner or later we will be moving on to other regions as well. But since it's the first time, so we are dealing with a lot of problems, and yeah, we are just troubleshooting them and making a good pipeline to work with.
If you think that, I mean, this is kind of its own whole separate group within this group, which I love that you all join this and tell us about what's going on. It makes me happy to hear your progress.
Yeah,
but
sure. We will be doing that.
Yeah, if you think this is going to continue on for like the foreseeable future, basically, we should maybe at some point consider this becoming a sub-project of the ContribEx SIG.
Yeah, let's look into that because Paris is also working on that original Meet contributors part that would start after the KDEV migration. So maybe in next year we might consider like doing it as a sub project once all the things are in place.
Cool. I don't know how the existing Meet contributors is managed in terms of its title within the SIG or anything like that. But Paris would know. So that might be a good thing to discuss with her. Awesome. So glad to hear that that's ongoing and going well. Cool. Any other campaigns in progress that folks have updates
on? I guess we should also look into the like KDEV mailing list comms. I guess Krish is taking care of that, or Paris herself is taking care of that. We have recently issues on Kubernetes/community repo. So maybe if you want to track about that, or like,
on which repo?
Kubernetes/community in our repo, like K community.
Okay. Cool. I've never been one of the folks who manages the KDEV emails. Jula was doing that. I don't know if has someone else taken over for that? Does anyone know?
So are you talking about the process of this?
Yeah, the process of sending the KDEV emails.
At present we are using Google Groups, so we are trying to shift it to our own domain, kubernetes.io domain. So there's I am just putting the issue link here. Yeah, there is the issue link regarding comms and the dates.
Yeah.
So like at present Paris is handling pretty much, Paris and Laura, they are handling pretty much, shifting it to the domain.
Oh, the migration, yeah.
Yes. So there is a timeline, and again, there are like moderators to be shifted and managers, new roles coming up.
So this item is both that there are things that should go out on KDEV and also a reminder that it's being migrated.
Yes. I guess Chris is on it, like he is handling this.
Well, it won't be for the next few days. So if there's anything imminent, let me know and I'll make sure that it gets handled.
Yeah.
I'll try to keep an eye on it too. But yeah, that's a a big migration thing that's been happening for a while at the SIG level. Of course, you're always in those meetings, so cool. Any other campaigns in progress items? Okay. Any new items that we want to discuss? The new year coming up. I'm sure we'll have a lot of these probably in the new year, but at the moment, hopefully things are mostly winding down. Are there any new items that we need to discuss? There were a few in the last meetings, but one of them was like contributor celebration work, marketing council. Oh, that's what we're calling ourselves, marketing council. Our blog post was a new one a couple times ago. Any other new items?
I had a doubt. Basically, I'm dropping the issue link here. So this issue, like to solve this issue, we need to basically change the references from master to main in the diagram. So do we have to like create a new diagram altogether, or we can get some like Figma link or Mermaid link of this particular workflow diagram?
I'm not familiar with this, so I'm not sure who would have access to the original diagram if there is one. Might be a good question to ask. Does someone know?
I guess code for Bob because I did update the SIG, the whole SIG list, the new SIGs and the other SIGs part. So he was having the PPT and he shared it with me, which was editable in both PNG and SVG format. So yes, you should ping Bob directly and he might be having the whole thing.
Good. Thank you.
And if not him, he'll be able to point you to someone else, but also
yes,
he is busy. So if anything happens and you're not able to get a hold of him, which I think you probably will be, but as a backup, there's always the SIG ContribEx channel in Slack. If you ask kind of generally in there, someone should be able to point you in the right direction as well.
So for this one, so KK has not moved to main yet. We do plan to, I believe, between 124 and 125. The contributor who created this issue, she the contributor has made some pull requests to the K website where we do use main. So I think there might be like, this flow is really for KK, but might be applying it for K website, which uses main. So, yes, it does need to be changed, but we planned for that between, I think it's between 124 and 125 really cycle. I'll have to take a look at my notes. Or it also might be around the 124 code freeze as well. I think that's what we discussed.
So generally in the next year.
Yeah, generally the next year.
124 or 25.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, also regarding this, the master and main transition, we did this with our contributor tweets bot and it's down. We discussed it in the last bi-weekly meeting, but yeah, Karthikeyan is out and Rajula is like hard on schedule to get that thing done. But yeah, our bot is down after that migration.
That is a great point. Yeah, I was actually thinking I would love to spend some time next week working on our GitHub automation because we really need the scheduling a tweet function, which we haven't been able to fix, which is broken in our workflow because of the way that contribution to Kubernetes repos works. And the tool that we're using was an existing tool that someone else built that works well with other workflows, but not with ours, since we always use a staging branch before we get our PRs merged into the
I was
repo.
working on this issue. Yeah,
Are you looking at it? Awesome.
that thing is really configuring Twitter account is really getting messy. So I tried to get some guidance from Rajula, but I think he's on a leave or something. He hasn't been able to give that much attention, but I'll get back to that because I'm working continuously on that automation part.
Awesome. I'm going to add that as a campaign in progress. I'm glad that someone is working on it. So I was just going to look at it and try to understand.
But
what was
I'm
going on
really
at all.
I don't know anything much about the automation thing. So yeah, it
I wouldn't
would
either.
take
So
time.
yeah, and Kartikeyan also would be a great contact there. I don't know if you've tried reaching out to him. He might not be very accessible, like we just said.
Yeah, he just put it in the issue, like he was out for some medical emergency, but he's back. So he wrote it there, like, he'll be walking in the next few weeks. So I think you should reach out to him by next week and see if he's available.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, he's the one that originally put the bot together, so he'll be the best one. Rajula reviewed parts of it and has some understanding of it as well, but Kartikeyan is the main one who put it together.
Also, have anyone received the email about the Discord link for Kubernetes celebration thing? Because I got the Discord link. But what happened was that reCAPTCHA thing, it lasts for only 10 minutes and I kind of forgot to do the thing there.
Oh.
Not the award thing. So yeah, I got kicked out of the server. So does anyone have the invite links?
Once you rejoin, it's going to resend you a new reCAPTCHA. I had the same issue. So it's going to send you a new one. So look in your mailbox or wherever that bot that sends you the CAPTCHA, it should send you a new one.
Okay, yeah.
And if you can't find it,
yeah, I was adding that if you can't find it, just reach out to Bob in the DMs. He will send you the link.
Yeah. Or maybe SIG ContribEx generally saying that you have had this problem, because several folks in there are on it, right? So
yeah, but actually Bob just messaged it like, we are not releasing the links at present in the open Slack channels because it is not prepared. It's only for the staff. So Atharva since is working for the contributor celebration. So yeah.
Awesome.
I could see one thing about like Krish put something on the ContribEx channel regarding Docker Sim FAQs. Could we go through that once?
Yes, please.
The last message in the ContribEx link. I will just copy paste the whole thing. Yes,
yeah, that sounds good.
Tagging. ContribComs. I'm putting it on the new items. Yeah. There's it. Yeah, could you find it?
The thing from Chris about the Docker shim deprecation FAQ?
Yes. Like,
okay,
I just didn't get it, like what he was trying to say.
Yeah, I know what this is, so I can explain. But I'll put it in the chat first so that everyone can see what we're talking about. So there you go. I just posted in the chat a comment from Chris Short from the SIG ContribEx channel on Slack. He says, hey, at contributor comms, I think as a standing rule, any post we see about Docker shim should include a link to the Docker shim deprecation FAQ. And he has a link to the Docker shim deprecation FAQ right there. So this FAQ is a communication that we worked with several others to come up with when the panic about Docker shim happened earlier this year. So it's a really nice frequently asked questions of a lot of points that people need to know about the Docker shim deprecation, why it's happening, what it really means. So what he's saying here is if we see any communications come out, especially if they're from the Kubernetes community, of course, and we have some access to them, then we should make sure that there is a link to this FAQ. If we write some blog posts for the upcoming release or something, this might also be a good standing rule to just include this FAQ, so that there's a link for more information for anyone who has questions about what the Docker shim deprecation means, because there will be a lot of communications going out from the Kubernetes project about this over the next several months. Does that make sense? Cool. Like I said, that's going to be a very sensitive topic for us to communicate on, and I think this will be a good rule for us to follow, because the FAQ is a very good resource. Awesome. Improvements is our next section. There's something in here. Updates to work in progress. Or is this like the standard thing that's in there? Oh yeah. This is just like our standard dashboard thing. Anything for the improvement section? I don't think so. Cool. So our last working session items. Hopefully we can finish up. We try to finish up a few minutes early here. I know that Matt usually tries to finish up 10 minutes early. Let's go for that. So we've got like 3 minutes. Any working session items? Calendar walk. Should I bring this up and go through it? I mean, we kind of know what's happening on the community calendar. The release just launched and the community celebration is coming up next week. I think those are the main things that are going on. And then for contributor tweets, I need to, since I haven't been here for a couple of weeks, at least not on this meeting, I haven't been keeping good track of what's going on in the contributor tweets repo, but you said it's broken anyway. So if there are any upcoming tweets for that, we're going to need to submit them manually, which I can do. So looks like there are several things open in here, but nothing urgently needing to be tweeted. But like I said, we'll need to do some tweets about the contributor celebration. So I'll try to get that lined up. And if anyone is working on that or wants to say anything about that, please let me know.
I guess you just check one thing that about the Marbet.js article, that that tweet have that come up or not. If that hasn't, so you could just tweet manually about it. The second
okay.
issue, the second one,
Awesome.
like an announce Marbet.js article. So.
Cool. I see that poor SF Tim had some issues there. Sorry. He's a fantastic reviewer. If you ever do a blog post, you will encounter SF Tim, whose actual name is Tim Bannister, but I feel like I always see him on GitHub, so I always think SF Tim. Yeah, I will make sure that we take care of that. Thank you for pointing that out.
What about the Twitter on annual community report? It's been around for a long time now.
Which one?
See, I've put the link.
Thank you.
Oh,
There
this
are
one. This is
two
done.
tweets yet. Is this done?
SIG storage and about SIG ContribEx,
Yeah.
SIG storage that went into LWK like last week at Kubernetes. I saw in the last week only that went out about the KPNG and storage thing. Also, a tweet went out regarding that. So it's done. About SIG ContribEx, since we're working on that, I didn't see any requirement at present. So we didn't tweet about it.
Sounds like it's taken care of then.
Yeah, like it's been months. Like I haven't opened this thing since last 2 months, but just recently they started work on KPNG because at that time they weren't working on that. They just had a document on that, and SIG storage
Okay.
is taking care of that. And there are enough things
So this
happening
is
around
okay
it.
to close the issue, right? Or
Yeah, I think the issue has been closed, or it isn't closed.
no?
Okay, so then
Apparently
close
not.
it. Yeah, just close it.
Awesome. Look at this progress.
Oh,
Okay, and we already know what blog post needs review. The SIG multi-cluster blog is not a PR yet, but we'll try to review it in HackMD before we PR it, which is our usual process. We try to make sure that the blogs are ready to go before we put in a PR so that the PR is a little less involved. Might as well check these things. Okay. I don't see any particular issues in the main project, at least on our board, though Matt mainly maintained our boards, and we'll have to change how we do that probably. And, I don't think there'll be anything in these repos either at the moment. Cool. Ran a little bit long maybe for our 50-minute plan, but I think we covered some awesome stuff there. Any last minute items that you wanted to get to that we didn't manage to get to in here? We covered a lot. I think we're good. Thank you so much, everyone. Congratulations to Devabrata on your your new tutorials launching. And congratulations to Ray on the 1.23 release. And I'm going to go ahead and stop our recording. Happy New Year.
Bye.